Hi Pisces, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So with that said, okay, so that's going to be your first card out, whatever it is. Before we start, I would like to make a few announcements. So for those of you that are that pledged towards my Kickstarter, I just want to say a heartfelt massive thank you from my heart to yours for making that happen. We've already hit the target. If you still want to pledge and get yourself a goodie, you can do so on the link in the description box below, but thank you for that. It really does mean the absolute world, and it's just the first one, so we'll be doing the same thing again next year, so you've got time. All right, with that, on top of that, on the 10th of December, I will be a part of a talk with a tutor Bava over on his channel, the astrologer that also is known as Adam Ellen Bass. I'm super humbled by this because, as you guys know, if you've been with me long enough, you will have heard me talk about him with a lot of reverence because he's amazing at what he does. That's going to be with also with Kat Nelligan, the creative introvert, so I'm really chuffed about that. Yeah, super chuffed. And so that's on the 10th of December, 6 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to be there, check it out. I'll put a link for his channel in the description box below. And then for the 21st of December, for those of you that were there last year, you remember I did a winter solstice alignment activation session. I'm doing the same thing again this year, only this time I will have a guest, possibly two guests, which I'm really excited about. And one of them, who is bringing the human design perspective, is going to talk about insights that you haven't heard and will not hear anywhere else when it comes to this conjunction. So I assure you, you do not want to miss this. And at the end of it, to culminate the whole thing, I will also be providing a group FLP session. So if you've ever wanted a future life progression with me and maybe the price held you back or whatever, this is $33.33. So you get the FLP session and everything else on top of that. If you want to be a part of it, get your seat and the link in the description box below. Spaces are limited and there will be no replays or recordings. So with that said, your key to the week is the Death card. And yes, it looks a bit ominous. I mean, especially in this deck, he looks really severe, right? One of the things about the Death card that I often say to people, imagine you were in a really bad situation and nothing ever came to an end. You know, that everything you had in your life just went on forever. Sometimes the Death card shows up to tell you that you've paid your penance, that you've come to the end of something, that that you have reached the end of something that has already seen out its season or its energy within your lifespan. And this is a good thing. So when you see the Death card as your key to the week, it means that in a lot of ways, there are going to be a lot of endings and completions that come up now. Something will go through its natural phase of dying. And this is actually a good thing because it's going to allow you to be freed from something that you've been carrying for a long time. This is one of those moments where you want to let something go with grace and poise. For your actions and options, you have the 9 of Wands. This is the moment, right? This is the week where you need to speak up, whether this is at work with your boss, whether it's with friends, whether it's with family. There is something that you may have been biting your tongue on or something that you've wanted or needed to say. And this is the death of that moment. Right, this is the end of you holding back. It's the end of you, and you know, not being mean about it, but this is the end of you always considering other people's feelings before you know, at your own detriment. This is about you now finally speaking your truth or saying what you need to say, and maybe even admitting the vulnerability there and saying, you know, it's going to make me vulnerable to say this, but I have to say it. This is a moment that I need to speak on something honest and true. So, you know, this is about you choosing yourself effectively, where usually, you know, you always choose somebody else, let's say. For your communications and conversations, you have the Devil card. Not an easy card, especially because you've got the 9 of Wands there and the Death card. this could be, and just calling it as I see it, this could be where somebody highlights to you where maybe you sell yourself short. But because it's the Devil card, it might be that they do this in a way that isn't very subtle, or maybe they just kind of say, look, you know what, you need to pull yourself together. Like maybe they're really harsh with you. And on the other end of this as well, maybe you are speaking on something that you've held back on for far too long, maybe with a friend or maybe with a boss, and maybe you're highlighting to them something where, you know, maybe like, you know, you sometimes if you're that friend that never says anything when a friend has a go at them, only this time you're like, actually, you know what, I'm armed and ready, and you're going to get it with both barrels. This could be that week. The other thing is as well, this is going to show you where you hold yourself back. It's going to show you where the self-fulfilling prophecies, or the what are they called? You know, when you have like a thing in your mind that you know, like where you stop the self-sabotaging behavior. This week, something like that could show its head or show its face, and you might just kind of go above and beyond that, which I actually really like for you guys. For your money and materials, money looks good, right? So you've got the Ace of Wands. In a lot of ways, this is about you guys either finding a job or finding a new job, or maybe deciding where it is that you go from here. So you could be looking at a different industry. You could be looking at, you could be looking at a different industry. You could be looking at a different company. And that Ace of Wands gives you that initial fire, that initial push to say, yes, you know what, I'm going after this. It may be for some of you that this comes from an external push. Maybe the boss or a colleague or a friend or a loved one, or, you know, maybe somebody in your life kind of gives you that final, right, you know what, I'm going to do something for myself and I'm going to show them, right? And it's not about showing anybody, but it's about kind of, you know, showing up for yourself, I guess, in a way. So yeah, finances look good, but it's going to come through something new, right? Through something new that you're initiating. So, you know, if you have your own business as well, maybe this is you finally putting something into plan, some plan into action. For your physical health and vitality, it looks like you've got probably too much nervous energy or tension this week. And if that is the case, you want to find a physical outlet. I will say this to you as well, because you've got the Nine of Wands in your actions and options. This is not a week to do something that you can't fully pay attention to. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to do a workout, be present in that workout, because the chances are, you know, this could be the week where you pick something up the wrong way. Oh, I've twisted my back. Shit, that puts me out for 2-3 weeks. If you are, you know, doing something in the kitchen, pay attention, you know, don't leave the cupboard open. This is a week where you really, you know, you want to use your energy to best effect, but you want to make sure that you follow through and complete things. And then finally, for your home and environment, this is you just gearing up for the holiday season. For some of you, you might have already started early with, you know, a tipple every night. And maybe this week you'll kind of sort of catch yourself and say, oh, okay, maybe I'm doing this a little bit too often. You know, one Bailey's is fine, but if that progresses to a Bailey's, 2 beers and 3 glasses of wine, you know, of an evening, then yeah, maybe something's run away with itself. You know, the Ace of Wands wants pleasure at any cost, and coupled with the Devil card, that can be all kinds of vices and naughty behaviors kind of coming up out the woodwork. So just, you know, stay conscious of yourself. But here in the love and relations sector, you have the 9 of Cups, which means you could be meeting somebody this week. And my money is on the fact that they're a Capricorn. And I say this because Capricorn energy seems to have come up a lot for the Pisceans. And I wonder if this is that you're meeting somebody of that sign. For those of you that are single this week, you could be introduced to somebody, and maybe there's a part of you that's, you know, does the usual, oh, I'm timid, I'm shy, I don't know if I want to, you know, whereas this week I kind of feel like you're going to be really open to it. And there may be, by the time we get to the end of this week, there may be a date on the horizon for you. For those of you that are partnered or in relationships, whatever your collective vices are, or if you have like a bad habit that you and your partner do, maybe you eat too much takeaway, maybe you drink too much together of an evening, maybe you know, whatever it is, This week you could kind of say to each other, like, you know what, we're going to do this. Or maybe you're starting your New Year's resolutions here and now in this week before you even get to that, so that you can sustain it once the new year comes, which is great. I think it's going to be a great week for you guys all in all. I think it's going to have its challenges, absolutely, but I actually think that you can turn it around. With that said, remember the 21st of December, we're going to be tapping into the energy of that powerful conjunction and the magic of the solstice itself for the winter solstice alignment activation session. You can get your seat for $33.33 in the description box below. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I'll see you soon.